I'm Chris Straub from the Amar Foundation, and Dr. Abdelaziz, I'd love to give you a rest, but I have a financial question.
Yes, please.
So it may be in your wicket. And my question is about Saudi finances, but I think it could be true for other Gulf states. The Saudi government, in its benefits package that you talked about, has taken on a lot of costs, additional costs, and costs in the out years, and it raises the price per barrel of oil that is required to balance the budget in the kingdom, and that may be true elsewhere in the Gulf, and you could tell me that. But in the out years, looking towards 2015, 2016, that price steadily rises, possibly to the point at which we get consumer petrol in this country at over $4 a gallon, $5 a gallon, at a break point where we force the price down by getting away from the product. In addition, the Iraqis are coming online with more oil every year, and there's oil being found everywhere else. So it seems to me a real dilemma for the Gulf states to pay for their governments in this environment where oil must stay more or less at the price it's at today. Thanks.
You know, the Saudi budget this year is based in less than $60. So in reality, we can live with less than that. Very clear statement was issued from Saudi Arabia by King Abdullah and even by his oil minister. I remember when the price was 140, Ahmadinejad, he said the oil price should be 250. Good luck. Nobody listened to him, I'm glad. At that time, the Saudi oil minister, he said 100. And in fact, at the 100 level, he said there is a $30 cushion buy speculation in the market. Saudi are extremely happy with $70, by the way, because we wanted the continuation. We want the people to continue to use the product. In fact, I was telling some of the friends in Boeing last night, I said it will be a nightmare to see your aircraft using gas instead of fuel. But still, because again, the transport sector is almost consume 1/3 of the global oil that is being produced. So I don't think the Saudi really are keen to see a higher oil price. They have many times clearly stated between 70 to 80. This year, the estimated income of Saudi Arabia will be about 320 billion because of the oil prices. But we still have 540 in Washington. We still have it here, at the Fed, at the T-bills exist in here. So we're going to use a lot of the money that we have. Again, don't forget one thing. Between 1983 and 2001, the expenditure in development in Saudi Arabia and the rest of the Gulf was less than 2 to 3% because oil prices was down. We were borrowing domestically. So now we are spending a huge amount of money domestically because the growth in population, the huge territory and geography, the demand of the people, and the price increase. The same car I used to buy, General Motors in 1982, is not the same price today. It's almost 4 times the price went up in that. We do not wish to see a high oil price. We understand the importance of the alternative energy. This is why the new initiative in the region, in fact, we have a research program coming and a publication on the alternative energy in the region, how the region is looking to solar, nuclear, wind, and also other biofuel there. We have a national plan now that says 30% of our electricity should be from a different resources than the oil and gas, which we understand that. We're not isolated from the rest of the world. And we still want the rest of the... But remember 2 things. We remain committed in terms of access capacity. When the situation happened in Libya, the only country would say, yes, here I am. I'm ready to fill that gap. Was Saudi Arabia, and some of the Gulf countries fill that gap. And also, we remain committed whenever there's a need for market expenditure. We did it. We spent 70, 80 billion in expenditure on certain, on the oil field just to meet the international demand there.
Gentleman in the second row, then I'm going to get to the lady, and then to the gentleman back there. You'll all get your turn.
Hi, my name is Dave Dienstag. I'm from Giselle.org.
From?
Giselle.org. I'm just a blogger. Many years ago, I carried a rifle with Ahmed Shah Massoud's people in Afghanistan, and I represented them to some extent in Washington here in Congress. And one of the things that I'm struck by in all of Arab Spring is that they don't seem to be interested in having a legislative instrument. They don't do anything at all, and I'm wondering why that is, and I'm wondering if anybody can comment on that.
I couldn't actually get who is not interested in having legislative.
I don't see an organization devoted to speak to the Congress in particular.
Here in Washington.
Correct.
Yes.
You see, I was following the situation in Afghanistan from day one because the angle of terrorism. I say we, that means United States or the Western country. We went to Afghanistan to fight Al-Qaeda, not Taliban. We end up fighting Taliban. The question is, you cannot, we reach a point, and I am one who always said it from day one, we have to speak to Taliban. We have to speak to Taliban under certain condition. Taliban is not a terrorist organization. Taliban never carried an external attack. And the question of if you to speak to Taliban or people who link to Taliban, they said we are a liberation movement, a national liberation movement. We fought the Soviet occupation, and now we're fighting the American occupation. What's the difference? For them, there is no difference between. Possibly for you and me, there is a difference. For them, actually, there is no difference. The question here is, if you look at Taliban now, controlling possibly 60% of the country. Actually, even in Kabul, you cannot travel in the night. Okay? You cannot travel from one city to another city. We have no control. We occupy the country, but we are not in control. Absolutely not. So we reach a point that you cannot write Taliban off. Absolutely not, I can tell you. And Taliban become part representing the Pashtun nationalism. And Pashtun constitute the great majority of Afghanistan. So without recognizing Taliban, I don't see any way out. Okay, which sort of Taliban? Taliban pre-2001 or the present Taliban? Taliban reform. Taliban, there is a lot of, and you're talking about many Taliban. Taliban is not one single movement. It is a coalition of tribal and political group. And even when you go to travel in Afghanistan, there's different people talking different language, although they are the umbrella of Taliban.
No, he's talking about talking to the legislative in Washington here. Why nobody's doing that? Is that your question?
Yes, sir.
Well, very simple, because two dimensions. First, individual NGO to do it, we don't have the structure and the sort of special initiative by people to do something like this, to go and talk and to do it. So the whole structure of NGO in countries like the Gulf region, for instance. In the Mujahideen?
Neither did the Mujahideen in 1980. They had no structure. No, actually, quite the opposite.
I was here in Washington in '82 when Burhanuddin Rabbani came, and the U.S. Congress have asked the Saudi even have to declare how much they are supporting the Afghan to be able to buy the Stinger missiles. At that time, I remember it in Washington.
Well, it's a fascinating. It's a fascinating subject. I think we're going to have to pursue it in some other venue at some other time. But it's a good subject. The lady in turquoise back there.